everyone, and welcome back to MK Gardening. Today we are in our courtyard and we are going to be cutting back the bleeding heart bush that's in here right now. It has spread this season, so it is going to be interesting cutting it back because it has spread all the way over there as well. Now, bleeding hearts are perennials for us, and you don't necessarily have to cut them back. A lot of people do not cut them back for aesthetic reasons. When we start seeing these crunchy, crispy leaves, yellowing of the leaves, the plant is not producing blooms anymore. It just looks really tired. We like to just cut it back to about 2 inches above the crown of the plant, and then plant annuals around it for the remaining time of the season. We're going to have to play around with the annuals in this space because we had a bunch of volunteer sunflowers come into the courtyard for this season. We did not plant these. They just started growing, and one is like 12 feet tall. So they are actually taking up a lot of the space that we had originally planned was going to be available for annual planting. So we're going to have to kind of test out some different arrangements before we actually decide if we're going to be using these plants at all in front of us. So we'll do that after we cut it back. But first, let's do a close-up on how we are cutting back our bleeding heart. All right, so I know that cutting things back can be really traumatizing to some people. I'm like, no, the plant's still alive. It's okay. It's a perennial. It's going to come back. I'm going to first try to get some of these branches out of the way so you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing. We do have our pop-up bag here, which is wonderful in this very instance. So right in here, I'm touching this one. You're just going to go back to about 2 inches and cut. And we're going to do that to every single one of the branches for the bleeding heart. Just cut it right back about 2 inches above the ground, and then we'll be able to see what kind of space we're working with. Again, you can see it's tired. You know, they are early spring bloomers. The heat and they're just not for that. So we're gonna cut it back. It's all good. It has enough energy for next season. And then we're gonna see what exactly space-wise we have left over. All right, here we go. Okay, so that is a really easy chore. The stalks are not very thick, so it's almost like just cutting straws is the feeling. When you get down to the base, don't be afraid to leave these stubs of stalks left. They will die on their own. They'll die back on their own, so you don't have to worry about them. And what comes up is very similar to like baptisias or the hibiscus when they sprout from the ground, almost in that asparagus looking stem straight coming from the ground with a little point. They're going to come up fresh from the ground every season. So you don't have to worry about having those die back when you see them die back. They're supposed to do that. So we did a little bit of light weeding afterwards, and this is what we came up with for our arrangement in this area. We did stake up the sunflowers just for stability, but also to really see what kind of light scenario we're going to be working with. So we just used the wrappy clips and we tied them to just like a metal trellis that we had laying around. So we could see the space finally. So we have a bunch of flowers that we're going to be putting in this area. They are all annuals. The only downside is that they prefer full sun, which they are not going to get here. So they're not going to get completely, this is a part sun area. They're not going to get totally their light requirements. And also it is pretty late in the season. We're at towards the end of July now. So it's not as if we're planting these annuals in May where they have all season to grow to their full height and width measurements. So they're not going to get as big. So we kind of really crammed them in here because we know that they're not going to reach that before the season is up. So let's go through what we have. So right up front we have our Peachy Keen Superbena. You guys know that we love Superbenas. They're workhorses in containers and in the landscape. They have these beautiful blooms that have multicolored peach hues. And they just are all budded up. So our color scheme is still that like really summery, hot colors. So like yellows, oranges, reds, and we do have a little bit of whites. So it's gonna be like just really summery and exactly what it is right now. So we have one Peachy Keen Superbena. We have two Diamond Mountain Euphorbias, and these are really fairy-like and wispy. The tag says they're going to get 2 by 3. They're not going to get that big here. So this is about the height and width that they're going to get. Yes, it is. But they look really pretty. So we will be planting 2 of the Diamond Mountain Euphorbias right here. And it's going to give a nice different accent of leaf texture compared to all of the different types of foliage that are going on, which is great. So right behind it, we could not find a tag on this. This is not a Proven Winners. It is a gazania or an African daisy. I'll pop a picture on the screen of what they sort of look like. Again, there was no tag, so. But it is an African daisy, so they are not going to get very tall at all, only about like a foot around, so they're pretty much where they're gonna be. I'm hoping that the leaves kind of fall up and over the stumps that are left over. If not, it is okay, you know, it's fine. Right at the sides, we have 2 Dahlia hybrids from Proven Winners, and this has are you ready for this? Grande Tequila Dahlia. And doesn't that just sound awesome? Grande Tequila Dahlia. So this one is not, so it's a hybrid, so it has more of the yellows with the orange. But it also has the exact opposite with oranges and then yellow bordering. So it's a really fun summer dahlia. It's only going to get at max about 1.5 feet, 18 inches tall and wide. It probably won't get that. So they're just tucked in on the side. Again, full sun. We'll see how they do in this area. Right at the back, we have a Mystic Illusion Dahlia hybrid from Proven Winners. This is a different growth habit than the Grande Tequila. So this has much more of a almost sunflower-esque vibe going for it with dark foliage. And look at how cool the buds are. They kind of remind me of dates or prunes. They're really cute. And then the bloom is also very reminiscent of a mix between a sunflower and a dahlia. So we have 2 of those back there. They get 2 to 3 feet tall, and hopefully they're about that now. Hopefully they bush out a little bit more is my hopes for them in this spot for the rest of the season, because that would be nice. Those are the annuals. Again, none of these are perennials. They won't come back for us, but that's okay because we have this giant perennial that takes up that much space. So we cannot put any other perennials in this area because they just wouldn't be able to compete with the bleeding heart. So we enjoy the bleeding heart blooms. They're wonderful in the early spring. And then for the rest of the season, we can enjoy something else. So just like all of our other videos, we're gonna aug the holes. We're going to be very careful because we have a row of hyacinths right here. So we're not gonna disturb those bulbs. So we're gonna aug the holes, fresh soil, biotone, plants in, fresh soil on top, water them in. Okay, here we go. Well, we tucked everything in, patted it down, make sure it was nice and close, because again, they're not going to have too much of a chance to really like bulk out and fill in the area. We tried to also put them in a place where we know this bed does get a lot of sun. Obviously the roses need full sun to bloom, and they have been doing really great. So, and obviously sunflowers too. So we know that sun gets to this area. It's just not that blazing all day sun. So if you have a bleeding heart in your garden that is looking a little sad this time of year, don't be afraid to just cut it back, and it gives you an opportunity to plant and create a new little area for annuals to finish off the season. So if you liked this video, you can give us a thumbs up, comment down below, and please subscribe to our channel to get more content. We love interacting with you guys and making gardening accessible to everyone. So if you enjoyed this, give us some love. Have a great week.